We burning down the walls of religion, the walls of indecision. Do I have your attention? No brakes, head on collision. Had a dream, saw a vision that suspended this reality. Threw it in the flames, the things the world is selling me. It's like somebody poured gasoline on my soul. The truth, lit a match, warning I'm flammable. Pull the alarm, here come the sirens. Better believe that we got that fire.
You're gonna put the big old glob of peanut butter in your mouth. Here's the thing, you cannot swallow it.
Okay.
You cannot chew it.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything that makes it go down your throat at all. But we have to judge who does the best job. All of it in your mouth! No, you missed some! Don't swallow!
Sing!
Now start singing.
We're gonna sit by my baby rock and sit me through the sky.
That's not a Jesus song.
Little line time.
Hey, you're not even singing. I forgot, the winner actually gets $1.
Not a Dan dollar?
Not a Dan dollar.
You could have kept that dollar.
Make
it rain! Make it rain!
Oh, thank you. The purpose of this was to show how quickly it is to rub it in the face of the person who loses. So we're going to talk about how pride can influence our lives in a negative way. Now, before I get into this, I want to make a statement that says this: having a little pride in yourself is not bad. I want somebody to read Genesis 37, 1 through 4.
So Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, he often tended his father's flocks. He worked for his half-brothers and sons of his father's wives. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him.
Okay, so the first thing we see here, everybody in this family hated him. Everybody hated him because his dad played favorites and wasn't afraid to tell everybody that he played favorites. Joseph was the king of his house, and it didn't matter what any of his brothers did, they were never going to be as good as Joseph. Joseph's dad makes him the best gift. He basically made him the most amazing robe ever made with the best stuff, the prettiest colors that you can make. And he was like, come here. He was like, come here. He says, you're my favorite. He called everybody around. Like, he's like, everybody gather around. This is my favorite, and I am giving her this coat of many colors, and it is the best. And everybody knew it was the best coat in the world. Even Joseph knew that his dad loved him more than everyone else. Does this sound a little bit like sibling rivalry? Next question is this. Now that we've gone through all that, how many of you have ever felt in your household that you are not the favorite? Alright, so in your house, you feel like somebody's the favorite. How many of you treat the person that you think is the favorite differently than everybody else? Exactly. It's a natural thing to do.
I mean, I have a favorite.
Listen,
so.
my sister was my dad's favorite, and I was not very nice to her.
Yes, I have a favorite sibling.
Alright, so let's read Genesis 37, 5 through 11.
It says, and Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we are binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep. And his brethren said to him, shall thou indeed reign over us, or shall thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren. And I said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And the father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream? For thou hast dreamed. Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying.
So here we see that Joseph is going to be used by God in a big way, right? Everybody knows the story, right?
See.
God's going to use him in a great and mighty way, and he gives him these dreams to do it. So Joseph communicates that to his entire family like an idiot. So Joseph probably knows that his brothers don't like him, possibly because we just read that they had no good words to say about him. So why would he be like, yo, you guys are going to bow down before me like sheep? Why would he do that? You know? So here's the thing. So we find out that God is the one who gives Joseph the dreams. And the dreams are amazing. And Joseph is telling his family. But here's the issue. It's not that he had the dreams. The issue is the pride that he took when he had the dreams. It was the pride that he had when he told his brothers that this is what was going to happen. It was pride that came into his heart and gave him the boldness to boast about what was going to happen to his family and how he was going to be the one that was going to be in charge of all these things. He went out there and he was like, yeah, I'm the top dog. Nobody's going to do it but me because I'm gangsta. He was probably walking around with his head held high, with his bright and shiny coat that his dad just made him. And he is just telling everybody, you're going to bow before me, and you're going to bow before me, and you're going to bow before me. So it was the pride that caused him to boast about his dreams to his brothers. And then here's where we learn a very valuable lesson. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because Joseph knew what was going to happen didn't mean he had to go out and brag about it. I don't believe that the dreams that God gave him were for him to spill to everyone. Sometimes God talks to us, or God reveals something to us for us. That's why whenever you talk about a relationship with God, you are building a personal relationship with God. Say I have a personal relationship with DJ, and me and DJ are closer than brothers, and I tell DJ something. It's not for DJ to tell everybody else. That's for DJ to know. It's the same way with God. God reveals to you something huge. It might not be for you to go out and tell everyone about it and make everyone else feel less superior than you. Whenever I read the story and how he approached it, I don't believe those dreams were for him to spread to all of his brothers. He already knew that they all hated him already. It's called throwing fuel on the fire. They already hate me, so let me tell the people who hate me, yes, you are all going to bow down before me. Just because you know something doesn't mean you should be bragging about it to everyone. Does that make sense? 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23 through 24 says this. I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. No one should seek their own good, but the good of others. I have the right to do anything I can, but not everything is beneficial to everyone. Not everything God reveals to me is beneficial to you guys. If we allow pride to come into our hearts, and we begin to brag about all of our victories, then we end up taking a fall like Joseph did. Because what's the rest of the story, right? His brothers were like, what? We're going to take this fool out and kill him. Well, they didn't want to kill him because they felt bad because he was his brother. So what they sold him into slavery. Had he kept his mouth shut, he may have become their leader a less harsh way. Because either way, God's dream was going to come true for Joseph. At some point in time, Joseph was going to become the leader and lead all those people, including his family.
He just made it worse for himself.
But had he kept his mouth shut, he might not have been sold into slavery. He might not have been betrayed, beaten, and brutalized by his brothers. And his father might not have had to think that he was dead for so many years. You see, just because he could do it didn't mean that he should have. God teaches us a very valuable lesson here. If he tells you something, if he shows you that something's going to come to pass, he might not want you to tell everybody that it's going to happen. And you know what? You might get there a little easier than if you do. Because if you begin to brag to everybody about what God has shown you, or different things of that nature, there's always going to be somebody there to try to put something in your way. When, if you just let God take it over and deal with it in his way, you can get there a lot easier. God's idea for Joseph was this. You're going to go from point A to point B, boom, done. Joseph got prideful. And because he got prideful, he went from point A to point B over here, C, D, E, F, G, Q, R, S, T, all the way till God had to make his B a Z because he couldn't keep his mouth shut and suck down his own pride. He had to suffer the consequences. Does this make sense? This balloon represents our heart. The air represents something that gives you confidence. A good grade on a test, your field hockey game, getting your book published, getting accepted into college, getting a job, making some money. All these things fill your heart. But when pride comes in, as quick as that popped, so can your life when pride comes in. The Bible says pride goeth before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. But that's what the destruction is. It's your heart. It quits being you and eventually just becomes nothing. You see, pride can destroy all the things that you are proud of. Pride can take away all the things that you so easily got. If we don't get our pride under control, and you only do that through a personal relationship with Christ, then your heart spiritually will just pop. And all becomes just vapors in the wind. It all becomes nothing. Then suddenly, no one cares about all of your accomplishments. The Great Depression, all those people that had all that money, they were so proud of all that they have accomplished.
Stock market.
And in an instant, it was all gone, and they were taking their own lives. I've read stories of athletes who are on the fast track to stardom, who have killed themselves because their pride got in the way. See, Joseph had to learn the hard way, and he had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations that he might not have had to go through had he not allowed pride into his heart. Think of the owner, the guy who created the Titanic. Right? Famous words. Not even God could sink this ship. What happened? Boom. Ship sinks. Don't allow it to sneak into your hearts. Work on your personal relationship with God. Get your life straight with God so that can stay out. Did it make sense?
Yes.
All right, that's a wrap, sucker.
Okay.
Sucker.